Retail workers, what is the most desperate scam a customer has tried to pull on you? Story 1 worked in a bottle shop. One afternoon, a shady character entered and spent 10 minutes browsing the liquor section. I stayed at the checkout and watched him on the CCTV. He ended up shoving 2 bottles of Johnny Walker Blue down his pants and walked out. Store policy is not to confront shoplifters. That's what insurance is for. I called the police and burnt the footage onto a DVD for them to collect. About an hour later, the same guy returns with the bottles demanding a cash refund because he purchased the wrong type. Just as I was telling him I can't do a refund without a receipt, the police walked in to collect the footage. He left with them in handcuffs. Story 2 years ago, I worked at a small hardware store where they were constantly getting huge rolls of copper wire stolen. One day, this guy and his girlfriend come in to return a roll. I was a few months in on the returns counter. They had no receipt, and when I scanned the item for the return, it was only doing the price per foot. I couldn't figure out how to get the SKU or the price for the whole roll. Called the manager, and he comes out and right away knows there's no way these people bought a roll and returned it. So he asks when they bought it, and they say, 2 weeks ago. The common response, and my manager tells them, "Oh, really, because the last time we sold an entire roll was over 3 months ago." The guy starts to get brave and tells him, "So you're saying I stole it?" And my manager says yes. They end up leaving and left the roll behind. Before they leave the store, the guy says, "I'm coming back and bringing the cops." Manager says, "Go ahead, that way you can explain to them how you stole the roll." Story 3. A guy comes in to fill his son's Adderall script. Guy is super twitchy and son is chill as could be. For all controls, we are supposed to run a report that shows everywhere in the state they have filled any. Of course, the report is a mess. Multiple pharmacies, multiple scripts, multiple doctors, all the red flags. To top it off, an Adderall script within that week had been filled, so we really couldn't fill this one. Dad comes back, we tell him that we can't fill it, and Dad starts going on about how his wife must have filled it, but they need some for today, blah, blah, blah. We decline, and his last words to us are, "My son needs them for a birthday he has to go to today. Can't you help?" "No, dude, we can't help. You're clearly taking your son's pills. Get help and stop using your son to get high on prescription drugs." Story 4. A customer brought back a jumpsuit for a refund because it had poop in it. Apparently, it had been like that when she bought it. It stank so bad that you could smell it through the taped-up plastic bags that she had put it in. The levels of how impossible that would have been to be unnoticed by changing room staff, to then be put on the shop floor, to then be picked up by the customer, to being bought via cashier still unnoticed. The worst part is some idiot on the refunds counter downstairs actually accepted it and put it on top of the trolley full of other returned items for us to put back upstairs, complete with a note stapled to it that said, "Warning, feces inside." One of the bigger what the heck moments I've had in any job that I've worked. Story 5. I'd like to return this unopened pack of cigarettes I purchased earlier today at your establishment. Might be paraphrasing a little bit. I open the store every day, hadn't seen this dude once that day. Looked at his cigarettes. It's a brand we don't carry. Asked him for a receipt to confirm he purchased them here, but he obviously didn't have one. That's fine. If you can just tell me what time you were in here today, I can look it up on our cameras to confirm your purchase. My God, the backpedaling and stuttering. I grabbed his cigarette pack and fake examined them. "Wait a moment, sir. Are you sure you purchased these at this store? I don't think we carry this brand." He took the cigarettes back, came up with something about his brother must have yada yada, and then he walked out. A tobacco store in town sells some of the brands we carry at a much cheaper price, so people like to try and do returns at our store to make a quick buck. We generally don't take any returns on tobacco, but this guy didn't even scope out his mark. Story 6. I work at a major cell phone retailer. I once had a man come in with his wife to do an upgrade to whatever the new iPhone was at that time. While they were sitting in the store working with one of my reps, I was in management at the time. The wife starts getting text messages from someone claiming to be her husband's mistress. This did not go over well. They took it outside before it got overly nasty, and we all assumed they were gone for good. Not so, the husband comes back in, alone. He finishes upgrading his phone, priorities, and left. The very next day, he tried to return the phone, claiming that we had sold him one with screen damage. He brings it in, and it looks like someone took a diamond ring or something to the screen and scratched the heck out of it. Now we have a strict open the box and hand it to the customer before they leave policy to avoid these situations. I was able to pull tape, show the customer where he held the phone for a good 5 minutes without pointing out any flaws, and tell him that my company offers no warranty on that brand, even if it's bad out of the box, and especially when he didn't show it to us before leaving the store. I suggested he take it up with the manufacturer if he truly believed the phone was damaged out of the box. He did. Right there in the store, he called them. They also told him to kick rocks. The best part? I was new to management, so I didn't have a manager name tag yet. He asked to speak to the manager, and I got to give him my best evil grin and say, I am the manager. He left after that, and we never saw him again. Story 7. People take receipts from trash outside or inside of establishments and look for items on the receipts they can steal. Usually things you can stuff into a coat and get 5+ USD for. What they do is go trash diving, get a nice list of possible items to steal, and go smash stores around you, or if they are ballsy enough, steal from the store itself. After they get the receipt and the items, they go to cashiers to attempt returns. If they are smart, which they usually are not, they aim for the max cash return possible. After 10 USD or so, many stores make you take store credit or insist you return to the card it was purchased from. So thieves will do tons of returns at tons of locations to get $100 or whatever the goal is. I was made aware of this after watching my manager eyeball and call out a thief, ask her to wait, check the camera, and confirmed that the receipt didn't belong to the person who was attempting to return 2 rolls of tinfoil. She put her hand on the items and asked her to leave. The woman buckled and left without asking why or asking for the items back. She told me the scheme and I was impressed at the effort. Fast forward some months and I have an elderly man return some pills with a crumpled receipt. I don't know why, but my suspicion meter was raised. It wasn't raised enough for me to call bullshit, and the receipt was from another store, so I couldn't just hop on the camera archive and investigate without roping someone else in at another store. I processed the return because whatever old man got the wrong pills and had to find his crumpled receipt, which he actually kept because that's what old men and women do, right? Wrong. This son of a gun stopped to check the small trash bin near the store entrance on the way out, checking receipts about 10 feet away from me. I think I summoned my hiring manager when I said, "Excuse me," in the sharpest tone possible because he dropped everything and scuttled his senior ass out of there as fast as possible. So blatant, I was offended by that more than the theft he got away with. Raw desperation, though, would be the guy trying to steal sausages. When I caught him, he said, "I'm hungry." God damn it, those words will ring in my ears for a while. Story 8. When I was in high school, I worked at the mall in a store that sold men's clothes exclusively. There was a boy who would come in about once every 3 weeks, buy a bunch of stuff. I would see him in one of my classes and in the halls wearing the items. Like clockwork, right before the 30-day return time, he would come back into the store and want to make a return or exchange for other items. He always has the receipt and even the damn store bag. Store policy, we had to take them back if they were unworn and had the tags on them. Well, it turned out not to be his day when I was working the one register we had. I refused to take the items back because I told him I saw him wearing them, and to take his scam elsewhere. He was furious and actually threatened to assault me because I ruined his scam to use the store as a free closet. His day got worse when after he threatened to assault me, I had the mall security throw him out and he was banned from the mall for quite some time. This was a huge deal back in the 80s when the mall was the place where people shopped but also just hung out. Shortly after, was promoted to sales leader, received a small raise and a set of keys to the store. Not bad for a senior in high school. Thanks for watching. If you have your own story to share, leave it in the comments below. Who knows, your story might be featured in the next video. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe for more story videos. See you next time.